says after he made allegations of sexual harassment to Will Smith's management team, he was fired.
Getting fired or getting blamed or shamed or threatened or anything like that, simply for reporting sexual misconduct or safety threats at work.
As of now, Will Smith himself hasn't made any public statement about the allegations. His attorney's response stands as the only official comment from his camp. The lawsuit moves forward into a legal system that will ultimately decide whose version of events holds up under scrutiny. For Joseph, the fight continues. He's already lost his position, his income, and, according to his lawsuit, his sense of safety. Now he's asking a jury to recognize that losing your job for reporting sexual misconduct isn't just wrong, it's illegal. Joseph's case relies heavily on California employment law, which has particularly strong protections for workers who report harassment. The state's Fair Employment and Housing Act specifically prohibits retaliation against employees who complain about sexual misconduct.
Well, they're adamantly denying all of these claims. Smith's attorney has released a statement. We can read it here. It says, Mr. Joseph's allegations concerning my client are false, baseless, and reckless.
The timing matters here. Joseph reports an incident. Days later, he's fired. Another violinist immediately replaces him. That pattern forms the backbone of retaliation claims because it suggests the termination wasn't about performance or tour direction but about silencing a complaint. Smith's legal position presents significant challenges. His team must prove the termination happened for legitimate business reasons completely unrelated to Joseph's harassment report. The problem was another violinist was hired almost immediately for the exact same role.
So we didn't really get into who he was talking about or the legal claims before the filing was made public. Okay, before I get into the legal claims, if this did happen to him, and he can prove it, and remember, when talking about a civil case, it's not a criminal case, the burden of proof is much lower at trial.
The burden shifts throughout these cases. Initially, Joseph must show he engaged in protected activity, suffered an adverse employment action, and that a causal connection exists between the two. If he establishes that prima facie case, Smith must then provide legitimate non-retaliatory reasons for the firing. Finally, Joseph gets the opportunity to prove those stated reasons were pretextual, just cover stories for the real motive. This lawsuit arrives at a moment when the entertainment industry faces renewed scrutiny over how it handles misconduct allegations. The Me Too movement permanently changed expectations around accountability.
This one bizarre episode to Will Smith and a pattern of predatory behavior, is it too much of a leap? Is there enough connective tissue there? How can you suggest that Smith or his team were part of this or were responsible? Does there need to be more proof of sexual exploitation?
Joseph's lawsuit will now proceed through the court system, where both sides will present evidence, take depositions, and ultimately argue their cases. The process could take years. The outcome remains uncertain, but by filing this complaint, Joseph has ensured that these allegations become part of the public record regardless of how the legal battle resolves. But this lawsuit didn't land in a vacuum. It dropped into a timeline already filling up with legal smoke. On January 1, 2026, one day after the sexual harassment lawsuit dropped, Will Smith's attorney spoke up. Alan B. Grodsky didn't mince words.
The next claim is also for retaliation, but it's under the labor code. So it's similar, but the argument is that it's illegal for an employer to retaliate against an employee for revealing information that the employee reasonably believes violates state or federal law. Again, the idea of protected activity.
The response was immediate and categorical. False, baseless, reckless. But here's the thing. This wasn't Will's first legal headache in recent months. December 2025 brought a completely separate lawsuit. This one targeting Jada. Bail Salam filed a $3 million complaint, not against Will, but against Jada. And the allegations, they went way back to September 25, 2021. Will's birthday celebration at the Regency Calabasas Commons. According to the lawsuit, Jada confronted Salam in the hotel lobby. She wasn't alone. 7 entourage members surrounded him. The complaint claims Jada told Salam he'd end up missing or catch a bullet if he kept telling her personal business. She allegedly demanded he sign an NDA, or else her associate would supposedly follow him to his car. Threats continued the entire way. This was the same Bilal Salam who will call a best friend for 40 years. Someone close enough to appear in Will's memoir with photos and everything. Fast forward 6 months to March 2022. The Oscars happened. That slap was heard around the world.
Mr. Joseph's allegations concerning my client are false, baseless, and reckless. They are categorically denied, and we will use all legal means available to address these claims and to ensure that the truth is brought to light.
22-21. Hollywood's reactions split people down the middle. But behind the scenes, Salam claims he got a call. Crisis management. They needed his help. He refused. According to his lawsuit, he wouldn't participate in what he called a cover-up or deceptive PR campaign. What is going on now? First of all, I'm really shocked because, mind you, I'm not there. That refusal allegedly triggered retaliation, threats from Smith Associates, pressure campaigns, and media manipulation, and when Salam started writing a memoir about his time with the family, things escalated further, he claims. Then came 2023, the Tasha K interview. Salam made explosive allegations about Will and actor Dwayne Martin. The claims went viral instantly. Jada's response was that she appeared on The Breakfast Club, calling the allegations ridiculous and nonsense. Adulterous wife.
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse.
Who forced him to go to the table and sit there. You know what I mean? And now look at what she's done. She suggested Salam wanted money, a shakedown. But here's what's interesting. Jada told TMZ they'd be suing. We're suing, she said publicly. Except no lawsuit ever materialized. According to Salam's complaint, that statement was false and made with malicious intent to damage his character through public opinion. Now, look at the timeline. On December 30th, 2025, Brian King Joseph sues Will for sexual harassment. On December 1st, 2025, Salam sues Jada for death threats. Less than a month apart, both during the holidays, both from people in their inner circle, and both claiming retaliation after reporting incidents. When plaintiff requested further reasoning, Tim Miller, acting on behalf of defendants, redirected the blame for the termination onto plaintiff, replying, "I don't know. You tell me." The pattern becomes harder to ignore. Both lawsuits involve allegations of threats. Both involve claims of career destruction. Both from former associates who worked closely with the family. Salam's complaint spells out the damage, intentional infliction of emotional distress, financial losses from his destroyed reputation, physical health deterioration, and the complete derailment of his personal life and career. He's seeking $3 million. It's kind of a hard thing for me to, pinpoint or describe, but I could see it. There's, sometimes clients come to my office, and some clients, they've been terminated. In my practice, 98% of the people that call my office, I don't take their case. The Smith family's legal strategy has been consistent. Categorical denials, calling allegations baseless, threatening legal action. But when it came to following through, that Dwayne Martin lawsuit Jada promised never happened. Remember the Oscars slap aftermath? Well, I got banned from Academy events for 10 years. He resigned from the Academy entirely. Public apology to Chris Rock. His career took a massive hit. Then came the redemption tour. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I was embarrassed, and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. March 2025, Will was released. Based on a true story, it's his first album in 20 years. The global tour launched in June. A major comeback attempt. Cities sold out. Critics called it a return to form. Then the Vegas incident allegedly happened. Now the sexual harassment lawsuit overshadows everything. The irony cuts deep. Will's memoir celebrated his friendship with Bilal Salam. Photos together. Stories of loyalty. Now Salam is suing Jada for allegedly threatening his life. The trusted friend turned legal adversary. Both lawsuits name corporate entities too. Joseph's complaint includes Treyball Studios Management Incorporated, Smith's production company that managed the tour operations. Corporate liability exposure adds another layer. If discovery happens, everything comes out. Hotel security footage, internal communications, text messages, emails, and tour management records. The alleged NDA demands all of it. Public opinion remains divided. Social media debates rage. Some believe the accusers. Others defend Will and Jada. Questions about timing persist. Questions about motives linger. But the Me Too era set precedents. Victims who report often face exactly what these lawsuits describe: retaliation, threats, and career destruction. That's where we think that the case is the strongest, and that reporting was then taken to and reviewed by management. And then after that, if Joseph wins his sexual harassment case, the damages could be substantial. Multi-million-dollar awards aren't unusual in employment law. But the real damage is to reputation. Will's image already suffered from the Oscars slap, the 10-year ban, and the public scrutiny, and now he's facing allegations of sexual harassment and wrongful termination. The stakes couldn't be higher. Will's net worth sits at $350 million. He can afford the best legal defense money can buy. He can afford settlements. But reputation, that's priceless. You can't buy back credibility once it's gone. The Oscars slap tarnished his image as America's nice guy. These lawsuits could end the redemption narrative before it truly begins. I'm just out of it because I'm really worried about what Will is doing. He's just sitting there, and Will's still talking. He's like he's still mad because Chris is talking to me. 2 separate lawsuits within 30 days. 2 former associates making serious allegations. 2 claims of threats and retaliation. The patterns are there. Whether the allegations prove true in court remains to be seen. Discovery will tell that story. Witnesses will testify. Evidence will be presented. I've spoken to him, and without getting into too much client communication, he is very thankful for the support that he's getting. It's a lot. Discovery could change everything. Security footage from Vegas hotels. Text messages between tour management and Joseph. Communications about Salam's memoir. NDAs that were allegedly demanded. The paper trail either proves the allegations or destroys them. There's no middle ground. But here's what's certain. Will Smith built his entire brand on being likable. America's nice guy. The Fresh Prince who never lost his charm. That brand survived the box office bombs. It survived the Scientology rumors. It barely survived the Oscars slap after months of public apology tours. You do not have the right to walk up on stage and smack somebody in the face because they said words. 2 sexual harassment and death threat lawsuits. That brand doesn't recover. Not in today's climate. Not when the allegations involve retaliation against victims. Not when they involve grooming claims and intimidation campaigns. The redemption narrative dies here. The legal battles will drag on for months, maybe years, with depositions, motion hearings, discovery fights, and settlement negotiations, but the damage is already done. Joseph filed his complaint publicly. Salam detailed his allegations and court documents. The internet never forgets. What has life been like for him? Since his time on the tour ended? It's kind of a hard thing for me to, pinpoint or describe. Will and Jada can afford the best lawyers money can buy. They can afford settlements that make these cases disappear. What they can't afford is the permanent stain on their legacy. The whispers that follow them into every room. The questions that haunt every interview. The doubt that colors every future project. The legal troubles mount as Will and Jada navigate separate but parallel battles. Both maintain their innocence. Both are facing serious allegations from people who once stood close to them. Both are dealing with the court of public opinion while actual courts decide their fate. The pattern of legal troubles isn't just a headline anymore. It's their reality. 2 lawsuits, 2 sets of serious allegations, and 2 former associates willing to go public. The similarities are impossible to ignore. And in the court of public opinion, patterns matter more than denials.